So yeah, what I wanted to ask in relation to the timeline jumping is, okay, I jumped into this timeline. Let's say I did. I believe that I did. Let's say I did. But all of you have come into contact with me somehow through a video. And whatever I'm saying in that specific video, it's not happenstance. Something I do know from all my coding. There's no such thing as coincidence. No such thing as happenstance. If you happen across my ass, it's for a reason. And it's up to you to discern the reason. And the only way you do that is with the connectivity. And so now you have to ask yourself, why did I come into contact with this crazy woman on TikTok? What's in it for me? Because that should always be question one. Because true selfishness is selflessness. And when you realize when you get really selfish, you get really, what's in it for me? Man, when I did that, I remembered Hollywood Shuffle. He killed it, did my brother, Afro. Anyway, that's selfishness. What's in it for me? And then what you'll realize, in order for you to come up, you gotta do for everybody else. So now you go from selfish to selfless. Because in order for you to rise, you gotta lift me up. In order for me to rise, I gotta lift you up. So we're both being selfish in our selflessness. But I'm gonna get up off this horn. I just said I was gonna come back and I wanted to question. I know 100% why Amber and I are on the same timeline. Well, not 100%. I don't know what magic. I think we're magical beings, but that's somewhere else. But we came together to create some magic in this timeline. Because how synced we are is, I've never had someone, one, know more than me, but not know more than me that they feel above me. And like I said in the Bonnet is the Great Equalizer video, maybe because I met her here. I didn't meet the singing background of Jamie Foxx and, taking pictures with Michael Jackson Amber. Me and Dre went to the Legion and I was just looking around and I was like, all of these women are so beautiful. And Dre was like, no, they're not. Of course. But I was like, they are, because they tried their best. They said, I'm going out tonight and I'm gonna put on my put on. And when anybody puts on their best and they do what they know to do for themselves to make themselves feel good, even if it's for that temporary moment, it's beautiful. And they were all beautiful in all of their uniqueness. I definitely jumped timelines. But why did we meet? What's in it for you? Hey, I wanted to come up on the back of the trained husband video and talk about being a trained wife. What's good, y'all? I'm Lonnie Appleton. If you have a couple minutes, I have a couple of messages. So yes, even though my husband does not like the language, he is trained. That video that I recorded explained how he literally had an argument by himself because he's so used to arguing with me. He just was like, why aren't you arguing with me? Like, he literally asked me, why aren't you arguing with me? Because I have no more arguments to give. Anyway, but that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, it doesn't sound pretty, but your spouse should be custom fit for you. Isn't that better language? Let's talk being custom fit. In order to be custom fit, in order to be customized, measurements and specifications must be taken into consideration. Almost like training. And every day you're with someone, you're practicing to perfect your role as their spouse. I am trained to Dre. The only difference is I know that I'm trained. So in that training, I move with him. And maybe because he's more authentic, to move with his spouse and to be agreeable is more authentic to him. So he doesn't even know he's doing it because he's like autopilot. I'm just gonna move how you move. But to me, I had to train myself. This don't come natural for me to be agreeable, for me to look out for somebody else besides me. Now I'm territorial. So that territorialness may look like I'm looking out for you, but in reality, I'm just protecting what's mine. But they can be confused because they look a lot alike. But the difference is I move in love now, not fear. Not fear of losing it, but I love it, so I want to take care of it. I loved it before, but it's just different, y'all. I can't explain it. It's different. Because when I say that I'm in a different space and I'm so in love with my husband, that implies that I wasn't in love with him before, but I was. I just didn't know. From the space that I'm in now, I didn't know how to love. And I move like he moves, and I'm trained too. So if he has an ache and a pain, I'm catering to his ache and his pain. If he needs a drink and I'm getting up, I'm already ahead of it. He doesn't have to ask. So I'm anticipating the things that he needs. In turn, that creates a beautiful energy in my home. So it's not even so much he reciprocates back to me. I don't do things now. I never really did things to get it back. I learned early on, it's not about the person you give to. It's about your heart, the giver. And you gonna get back what you gonna get back, even if it's not directly reciprocated, tit for tat. Bars. So I'm good to him, and I mean it. Let's talk friends versus friend zone. What's good, y'all? Lonnie Appleton here. If you have a couple minutes, I have a couple of messages. Love this comment right here. I just stumbled into marrying my best friend. We've been around each other since 2010. We didn't get together till 2016. And really, I took him for granted. I took the fact that we got along so well for granted. But isn't that everything you want to have in a relationship? Someone you just vibe with? Now, friend zone. Friend zone is a person who wanted to push up on you but didn't really make it in. But we see some kind of value in it, so we'll let you hang around. And friend zoners are people who know that they're only hanging around waiting for that one moment of weakness. All I need is that one moment. When your inhibitions are down and you just need some, and ain't nobody else around, you call the friend zone. And friend zone so cunning, some of y'all ended up married to friend zone. And there might even be something there, but there also may be some underlying resentment because they know that they were friend zone. They know that they only got let in because you didn't have no other options. And in that respect, the dynamic may have changed if you ended up marrying a friend zone. Just pay attention to that. Now, friends. I talked about this in another video, don't know which one. Typical relationships are built on, I know this person and they have 5 qualities. Why do they have 5 qualities? Because I only have 5 fingers. Most relationships are founded on, we have one thing in common and we ignore the other 4 things. We ignore them until we get deep in that relationship and now we got to deal with those 4 things. Because in the beginning we were able to ignore them because we only were really connecting through that one thing. But now that we're in this relationship, we got to deal with and live with these other 4 creepy crawlers. And that's why we break up. So if you're in a relationship and you don't like your spouse, it's probably because y'all were like, oh my God, I love you. We created all this with this one thing we have in common. And I successfully ignored all the other 4 things because we lived in our little bubble. Bubble videos are back there. But once you pop that bubble and all that stuff comes in and you have to deal with all 5 of those things, is that one thing strong enough to keep you together? Probably not. People stay, but they shouldn't. How relationships should be formed and how friendships are formed. You know a person who has 5 qualities. I like 4 of those qualities, and there's 1.5 things about that person I don't like. Again, I only got 5 fingers, there's more. But the things you like about a person, that 80% is more than the 20% that you don't. And that's usually your friends. So yes, that's why you should be friends first, and your best friend is probably your soulmate. Probably. But the thing is, we get into these relationships and we fall in love with this 80%, but we look at this 20%, and this is what breaks some people apart. But I want to explore that 20% because I finally have the words.